Hello everybody. Today we shall focus on micro teaching skills. That is very important in the teaching learning process. Before going to a classroom teaching, uh, a trained teacher should have a knowledge about micro teaching skills. So myself, Dr. Shivkumar Biswanapur, Associate Professor and Research Guide, Department of Studies in Education and Deputy Registrar Evaluation Section, Karnataka State, Akkamadavi Women's University, Vijaypura. So my details, cell and email and YouTube channel details are here. So please don't forget to subscribe my channel because you'll get the notifications regarding the education aspect. So, what is this micro teaching skill? Let us have the definition of teaching skills. According to Pasi and Lalitha, with the purpose of encouraging the students' learning directly or indirectly, the related teaching activities or behaviors can be called as teaching skills. So, there are two types of skills verbal skills and non-verbal skills. So according to the great educationist late the Pasi sir and Lalita, there are 20 skills. They are as follows. Number one, writing instructional objectives. Number two, organize the content. Number three, introducing the lesson. Number four, creating a set for introducing a lesson. Number five, structuring classroom teaching. Number six, skill of fluency in questioning. Number seven, response management. Number eight, explaining. Number nine, skill of illustrating the examples. Number 10, using teaching aids. Number 11, stimulus evaluation. Number 12, skill of reinforcement. 13, skill of probing question. 14th one, skill of using blackboard. 15th one, skill of achieving closure. 16th, skill of giving assignment. 17th, evaluating the pupil's progress. 18th, skill of management of class. 19th, skill of pacing of lessons. And 20th one, skill of diagnosing pupils' learning difficulties and taking remedial measures. So there are some spelling mistakes in the 20th one, that is a skill. So please rectify that. How this micro teaching cycle goes in a teaching learning process. Every teacher trainees should keep in mind this micro teaching cycle. It is very important and very interesting. You all will enjoy this micro teaching cycle. So whenever you involve adequately in the teaching learning process. First one, planning. You have to plan what you are going to teach and then involve yourself in the teaching. Second, teaching. So third one, feedback. So based on teaching, feedback will be given. Next come replanning. You have to based on the based on the feedback, you have to replan your lesson plan. Next comes reteaching. Based on the replanning, go for reteaching. And next comes re-feedback. That's very important. This is what micro teaching cycle, and re-feedback leads to again planning. This is a cycle that goes on. And how this micro teaching setting work out. Now, first one, the time. That is very important. Time. Here, the teach session requires 6 minutes. Feedback session requires 6 minutes. And replan requires 12 minutes. And reteach requires 6 minutes. And re-feedback requires 6 minutes. Totally 36 minutes micro teaching cycle will be there. And number of students teachers in a group is 10. It is a somewhat fair, and sometimes it leads to it also goes on 12 or 15. Next comes supervisors, one or two. One is more than sufficient, and sometimes if it is if you feel worth, then two supervisors are ready for that. Feedback by the peer supervisors, so that's also very important. The peer supervisors also will give the feedback to you people. So keep in mind it is a 36 minutes cycle, and If you involve completely in the 36-minute cycle, you will get a lot of interest and you will be improved yourself in the teaching process. Next comes steps details. How this planning and other things, whatever I discussed a couple of seconds ago, the uh, cycle that will go on in detail. The first one, planning. Planning involves selection of the skill to be practiced, knowledge of components of the skill, selection of a suitable concept, writing the micro lesson with specific objectives. That's very important. So here's selection of the skill to be practiced. That's also very important. So most of teacher trainees will get confused. Out of 20 skills, which skills are very important to follow. So that depends upon the directions your concerned institution authority and NCT and the requirement of the context. Knowledge of components of the skill. The components of the each skill you have selected, that's also very important, and go on acquaint yourself for components of the skill. Selection of a suitable concept for the skill, that's also very important. So from the standards, I mean 8th or 9th standard or 10th standard, uh, based on your guide and when the teacher educator guidance, you have to select a suitable concept. And next, writing the micro lesson with specific objectives. You have to prepare the micro lesson with specific objectives. Second one, the teaching. The procedure of teaching is as follows. It's a 6 minutes teaching, and the students required is 10 to 12 in number. What I told in a couple second ago. And next, observer or teacher educator one. So it depends upon the requirement and worthiness of the and or else involvement of the students. The teaching process can be video recorded. So this video recorded is very important to give feedback to the teacher trainee to get a first-hand look at her or his weakness. Next comes feedback. This is a very important task to focus on the specific behavior of the teacher training related to the model of the teaching skill. So we are the how the teacher trainee is involved in the teaching skill that helps to the peer supervisors as well as the supervisors to give the feedback to the teacher trainee who involved in the cycle. That adds the comments and approach to the feedback on to specific mistakes done while teaching. Next comes after feedback, replan. After receiving feedback from teacher educator and teacher trainees, he or she should plan to overcome the mistakes done by him or her in the teaching session by editing the existing one. Next comes reteach. Incorporating the suggested changes to the same students for another 6 minutes, the teacher trainee reteach the concept. So after replan, go for reteach. That also 6 minutes. And here also the teacher educators and peer supervisors will give the feedback to the teacher trainee. Next comes re-feedback. That what I told a couple of seconds ago that after reteach, the session is kept open for the appraisal and comments or else how he has been improved himself or herself in the teaching session. The supervisor and students reassess the lesson again to check the improvements and lefts in the teaching. Please note down there is a spelling mistake after reassess. It should be done. And that's what the completion of the cycle. This one cycle is completed. So depending upon the curriculum adopted, flexibility in the syllabus, universities are having restructure. University having to restructure the syllabus according to the local needs of the students. For our convenience, we shall discuss 6 skills for study. They are skill of introducing a lesson, skill of explaining, skill of stimulus variations, skill of friends in questioning, skill of illustrating the examples, and skill of using blackboard. So detail regarding these 6 skills I will give the information in the next video. So the skills, how these skills, whether we have to use all the skills in one method or else we have to divide the 2 skills in the for a different methodologies, pedagogy of subject selected by the pupil teacher or teacher trainees. So let us come to the CCM 1. In CCM 1, we have to use the skill of introducing a lesson, skill of explaining, skill of stimulus variation. Whereas in CCM 2, content methodology of teaching second subject. That there we have to come across. There we have to use the skill of fluency in questioning, skill of illustrating with examples, and skill of using blackboard. Now, what are the characteristics of micro teaching? In microteaching, the trainee can concentrate on practicing a specific well-defined skill. So he or she will have mastery over the specific skill. And that is very important, and one should have the mastery over the skill. That helps in writing the macro lesson plan. Second point, it provides immediate feedback to the teacher trainees. And third point, as it is scaled down teaching, there is no problem of discipline. So it is highly disciplined teaching process, and it helps to give immediate feedback to the teacher trainee. It enhances to undertake research studies with better control over situations and context. So those who want to go for research studies, the micro teaching will help a lot to know how the teacher trainee are involving and how the peers supervisors are giving feedback and what is the context and how the components are utilized by the teacher trainer. On fifth point, as teaching sessions are organized with the peers, there is a less administrative problems. So it is as we know that it's a group, a small group teaching. So there is no question of any administrative problems. Let us see what are the advantages of micro teaching. So it enhances the teaching efficiency for both the pre-service and in-service teacher education programs. So it provides real classroom conditions or stimulated conditions. Microteaching can be useful either in a real classroom or in stimulated conditions. Modification of teacher behavior. Microteaching helps to for effective modification of teacher behavior. Next, complexities. It reduces the complexities of the normal classroom teaching. Effective teachers. It prepares effective teachers for future teaching professions. Next comes uh, it takes the teacher behavior towards desired direction. Now, what are the disadvantages of macro teaching skills? Uh, the first one, it reduces creativity of the teachers, as it is a small peer group and only one skill is adopted in the teaching. It reduces the creativity of the teachers. The second point, it need trained teacher educator for implementation. So one should not go for micro teaching without adequate training. So it requires adequate trained teacher educator for implementation. Third point, it needs integration of other teaching techniques. That's also very important. It needs integration of the teaching techniques. That's what the disadvantage of that. Fourth one, it is time consuming. It takes too much time. So fifth one, all skills are not suitable to all subjects. That's very important. Whatever may want, whichever may be the skill, uh, all skills are not suitable to all subjects. And sixth point, some skills overlap each other. Sometimes the skills are selected for the study may overlap each other. And that is the end of the micro teaching. Hope you got the information. So please prepare the micro teaching, involve yourself in the micro teaching, and that'll help you a lot to overcome the complexities in the teaching process. So wear the mask and maintain the social distance. Thank you and all, and don't forget to subscribe this channel. Thank you.